So after we have the main sprue, it's important to give some secondary sprues to this, and they're referred to as gates. So if you look at this one again, the sprue button down here, the main sprue, the yellow wax is this piece right here. And wherever your piece goes from thick to thin, or changes direction significantly, or so far away from the main sprue that you want to kind of throw another secondary sprue up into that spot. The other thing it helps with is when your metal goes in there, it is at its liquid state. And once it gets in there and cools, metal when it cools shrinks. So if it shrinks, it can take away, the smaller areas can take away metal from the larger areas and say, hey, I need some more metal. Or sorry, vice versa, the larger areas would take away from the smaller areas and say, hey, I need some more metal, and then you get an incomplete cast there. So if there's a gate there, what it'll do is it'll draw the metal from the gate, and you don't care if this doesn't cast. So it's kind of a safety precaution. And as you look at this, think about where it goes from thick to thin and changes directions. So pretty thick right here. I go from thick to thin right in here, so I'm going to have a gate here, and those gates attach to your piece. The gates are just made out of, we just used 18 gauge blue wire. They're going to attach to your piece and then right next to your main sprue. Right over here, some detail with this round area, so I'm also going to do one and down. And you don't want to tuck a gate inside of detailed area, you just want to do it on the easiest place to get off, because once it's been cast, you'll take some flush cutters and just cut the tops of that away from your piece. So you don't want to kind of hide it inside the surface. I'm using a different tool this time. This is a needle tool. I just cut off a pin and put it into an X-Acto blade. And I've got an alcohol burner right here. And I'm using just kind of a plastic, getting rid of any kind of flammable stuff right here. And what that's going to do is that it's going to allow me to control the heat a little bit less. If I decide that I want to use the wax pen for this, I'm going to be careful of that live flame. If I want to use the wax pen for this, it's a little bit bulkier. You want to make sure to turn down your temperature if you're going to do that. So here, since I'm right-handed, I have this over on the right side. And you want to have it pretty accessible to wherever you're going to go. So setting up your piece, so I'm going to start attaching the piece right here and then down. And I want to have a little bit of extra here, and I want to stack my fingers. I don't want to hold it up here and try and do this because it's going to, if I wobble it all, it's not going to work. So I'm going to get that attached. I'm going to heat it up. It's already attached to my blue wax. I'm going to heat up the point of this. And then again, I'm just going to pass between the two as I slightly push my blue wax to my piece. As I pulled that through, it's shifted a little bit, but I still think I'm okay. Notice I have not moved, and as I pulled the heat through, I started blowing on that to cool it off. I can gently let go with my fingers, and then I can go ahead and make that a little bit shorter from there. Don't wait to test that until it's cooled off a little bit. So I have a tendency to go ahead and attach all of these, and I can be all on one side, or I can flip it around if it's easier to get to it from this side. And I'm going to attach it right in here where it goes thick to thin. You will see a color change. It gets darker when it's liquid. And I'm going to get rid of that. And then while we're waiting for those to cool, a nice little safety kind of feature in here to let any of the the gases escape from the heating is I'm going to go ahead and put a vent on it. It's at the highest spot. And again, notice how I kind of stack my fingers together right here. I fold a little bit of a V right in here. And once you start heating, you want to be close enough to your piece where you don't have to move back and forth when you go to heat your piece down. Get rid of that. And then I'm gently going to bring these little guys. At this stage, if they you know, if this pops off and you have to reattach, sometimes it just takes some practice. Some of this will come naturally to you guys. Some of it will take some time. Wherever it attaches down here, just close to the base of that, not on it, in case there's a blockage. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this here. And the hotter you have this, the more wax you're going to lose. So I'm going to bend it towards me a little bit. You do not want to fold it. You want that to be just this beautiful, smooth channel. So that the metal can go in. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to trim it. Just using the back of my finger to hold that in place. And voila, not uncommon. So I would go back and attach that and down to the base. And then just making sure that you have everything that you need when you're finished with this. Make sure you blow it out and kind of get cleaned up. And then from here, you're ready to check it and make sure all those seals are good. And then after that, you move on to investing. Until next time.